light seems harsh, doesn't it? I think I should move. I should turn it up or back it up a little bit, shouldn't I? I mean, we look a little pale.
It's your call.
I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm asking you. I look how pale I look.
Yeah.
And I've got beautiful tan skin.
It's where it's pointing more down to this week.
How's that look?
I always look awesome.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You got your mic on already?
Yeah.
Okay. That didn't change it down. Now maybe a little bit.
Now you know what? Screw it. Early 90s stays on the wheel.
Gave up, huh? What
Well,
a quitter.
It's the wheel's
Just say it. I am a quitter.
Just the wheel's so pretty right now.
Well. See my new shirt?
Right.
The Hitman Heart.
All right, take that. Take the wheel.
Take this wheel and shove it.
All right, you need to start the streaming.
It's already started.
Oh, look at you being all ahead of the game.
Well, you told me to do it. Okay, you want to do a quick sound check, Arini?
I gotta get to the page, man.
Okay, not be on the page. Oh, the stream health stinks. If I shut this off, it'll be better.
Yeah, I guarantee it will be.
Blah, blah.
You're not Bugs Bunny. It tears you up inside, doesn't it? You. That's what you sound like.
Oh, yeah. Sweet nectar of the gods.
Yeah. I know you're an idiot.
What do you mean? What are you drinking? Coke? Yours is sugared Coke. This is diet.
I'm not. Yeah, but I'm not claiming this as some kind of ambrosia drink.
Well, listen. Let's do our sound test, which apparently we've failed every week.
It's already been recording. No, it hasn't. Never mind. Just hit the button, Frank.
Man, you're off to a bad start today.
No, my soda didn't explode. I consider today's
so
a win.
Man, I laughed my butt off with that. Say some normal stuff, Brenny.
What have I just been doing?
Well, I haven't been paying attention to what you were saying. When you were talking, you're here.
Ugh.
No, I tried to turn you down, or me down, and you up. Now you talk. Let me watch the little bar.
Okay, I'm going to talk about me.
Okay,
me.
Because you always come in. And the thing is, you're a loud, oafish man, and I can't figure out why you're always not that loud. It drives me absolutely nuts. Okay?
I think it's because I properly wear the microphone.
Where do you put it?
Right here.
Well, that's where I moved mine down. In fact, so hopefully that'll help. Let's check and see if this works.
We should have rap battles.
Rap battles of a non-history? No.
Rap battles of amigo-ness.
No. We're not doing. The
Amigos versus ARG, and you just have to run back and forth.
No talking at this point forward. I'm trying to ascertain our microphonery.
No, my soda didn't explode. I consider today's a win.
Say some normal stuff.
What have I just been doing?
How's that? Does that sound? You're definitely louder.
Yeah, but you're softer.
No, I think that's good because I'm a loud jerk and I get excited.
I don't know, man. You sound really soft.
All right, I'm going to listen for once. I'm going to listen to the advice given. And I'm giving myself the nudge.
We're not late, folks. We're just tweaking.
I said we're not late. This is the most on time we've ever been. Ever been.
No, it's 9:01.
Well, listen, but we never start right on time, but we're usually not even streaming. We'll record one more here. Is there anybody actually here?
There are 4 people watching.
Oh, what up, yo? We're just testing the audio. We had a pretty good turnout last week, as I recall.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can actually probably turn that up a smidge. All right. Ho, here, ha, ho,
Have you thought about a wonderful, awesome Midway intro?
It's been. I don't really have a great one. But I'm gonna. You got a suggestion? Your suggestions are always crap. It's hard to work that into.
Midway's tough. I mean, to sound awesome.
What I was thinking was, hello everyone, welcome to an episode of ARG Presents. That's midway between good and bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
There are 4 people watching. What up, yo?
Yeah, that's good.
Just testing the audio. Yeah, we had a pretty good turnout last week. Recall. Let's call it a win. Turn off the Gambletron here. Just here's logo. Look at that.
Yeah. Well, no. You gotta scroll it down to get the top. That's where the magic is, where you two are lovingly staring at each other.
Well, it is love. It's clearly
You're
love.
all out of love. So
You really have to love somebody to. Let's see what this guy's talking about.
It might be Necronom. What? What are you doing?
Someone's comment here. I was just wondering what they were talking about. Okay, it was in the Huck's well-received videos. The Huck is the clear star of the channel.
Maybe of the video portion, but he's got competition on
Look
you.
how jacked up my hands are today.
Well, yeah, it's
Oh,
because
man.
you don't take care of yourself.
What are you talking about? It's the skin issue. It's got to do with me.
Aaron, I know that you take a cheese grater and rub it over your knuckles for sympathy. Okay?
And yet I get none. Not from you.
Well, you keep trying.
What a jerk. You ready to take this thing to the next level? That's so stupid.
What?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying.
Get out. Go stand in the wind.
But I want half of the ARG Presents Tame.
Tame? Yep, you sure are part of the Tame.
Remake show.
Exactly.
Ooh.
You know what? We are proof that anyone can have a successful show
I've told
on the
people
internet.
that. I was talking last night at the computer club, man. I was like, listen, yeah, you can do a show, and you can do a show. Everyone can do a show. Now,
Well, I don't know. As much as I appreciate and somewhat admire John Marshall for passing his test,
yeah.
I don't see him being able to put on a high energy show in front of this.
I don't know. John was tearing us up last night after dinner.
Oh, was he?
Oh, yeah. John's a pretty funny guy.
Oh, he's super funny. He's just so reserved.
All right, you ready to do it?
Any plans on more 8-bit live streaming?
Yeah, every day, man. Well, let me tell you something. If you like 8-bit live streaming, and if you like the Spectrum, you're gonna have your brain explode because we're getting ready to do a bunch of that. Listen, you can't get enough 8-bit streaming, man. We've been streaming Atari. We've been streaming everything. We love it. Now you never stream nothing. Sort of a slacker, frankly.
Well,
but you're getting ready to start cranking it up.
I don't have the username and password, so you know.
I don't know it either.
Well,
It's saved in my thing. I'll get it for you. You're in. More 8-bit streaming from him. It's coming.
No, if I streamed
demand
anything, it'd be meme stuff.
No, listen, 8-bit
that's
streaming.
my passion.
What do you mean? The Coco is 8. You can do stuff on a Coco.
Yeah, but
Coco games.
But the arcade
Live Dallas. Who would not want to see that?
I'm not going to do this without a walkthrough. 5 minutes later, I hate all of you. Ah!
All right. You're taking a valuable showtime with your baloney. You ready?
It's weapons grade polonium.
Okay. Clear my eyes. Can you make yourself look beautiful? Do you feel like a pretty girl? Pretty girl. Do you feel like a pretty girl? You ready?
I'm still breathing, so
here we
of course
go.
I'm beautiful.
Cranking it up. Assume the crash position.
No, wait.
Are you doing a bit?
I really wanted to be playing like a Midway game.
Well,
I mean, like
3 seconds before I hit the button, that this is your plan.
I mean, Midway's in like Carnival.
Well, I don't.
That type of Midway.
I got nothing for you on that.
Oh, no, I got it. I got it.
You're not getting up.
Yes, I am.
You're taking off the mic for this bit? Oh, folks, he's going across the studio. He just moved the lights. What in God's name are you doing? No, Brent, that's a load-bearing gorilla. You're going to be responsible for putting him back. That's all I'm saying. Oh, Lord. You're going to put him in your chair? You should just put him in the seat.
No, here.
And talk for him.
Here, hold that for just a moment.
What?
Wow, it's actually destroying the white balance of the screen. Alright, hold on. Let me get my mic back on.
You literally have jacked up our gimmick. There
Yeah.
My God. I'll give you credit. You totally screwed that up. How the hell did you do that?
Here. Here we go.
Okay, you fixed it. Stop. Don't do anything else. Mr. Magic Paper. All right.
Here. Do what I just did again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll fix it with that. This is too good to pass up.
Can I start now? Can I
yeah. You need to act like you don't realize this is here.
And then what do I do? Turn around and go, ah!
No, don't react at all.
Okay.
You're the straight man.
Finally, recognition. All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of ARG Presents. That's midway between good and bad. I am Amigo Aaron, joined today by a huge, ugly thing. It's the Brent.
Hey, look what I won at the Midway.
Well done.
I figured since we're covering Midway this week, I would show off my prize.
I wish I had that much hair, to be honest with you. And weighed that much.
Good old Donkey Kong.
Get that out of here. What are you doing? So,
here we go.
That's my script. That's my script.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
We don't, here we go.
That, yeah.
All right, fine. Kill it. We won't use Donkey Kong.
There's one for the blooper reel. We're off and running. I told you, your bits, you can't have a bit that actually destroys the show. You're blowing the illusion. The illusion. Good God.
I want to use him so bad.
This isn't a sketch comedy show.
It should be.
You're not funny. That's why it's not.
But you could be funnier.
It wasn't me. I'm doing it again.
Yeah, we have to stop.
I already stopped it.
No, you didn't. You just stopped it now. It's right now. Stop. Don't touch anything. Just
listen.
Center,
I had it stopped.
Center.
Stop talking.
Center.
You're blowing it in front of the whole group. Okay. Here we go.
Oh, I have to go the other way.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of ARG Presents. That's midway between good and bad. I'm Amigo Aaron, joined today by a big, hideous, ugly, hairy, disturbing monster. It's the Brent.
I'm midway between those things.
Yeah, huh? You're midway between bad and horrible, if you know what I'm saying.
You know, I think it's amazing that while we're covering midway things, we're not covering our favorite Midway game, Mortal Kombat 2.
It's not my favorite Midway game, but it's a great game.
Oh my gosh.
Midway? Are you kidding me? Do you like how I used the bit that from the edited version of the show? I just didn't even bother to change it. Just put it right in there. I thought I'd mention it. What?
Hit stop.
What? No.
No, you're an idiot. Oh my gosh. It's okay if you do it, just don't be an idiot.
I couldn't help it. I did it. I didn't have anything else. That's all.
But that's fine. That's fine.
I was waiting for you to comment on something. You didn't say nothing.
I rolled with it, man. That's what I do.
We never start over on the other show. It's only you. You're like Hitchcock or something.
Well, if you get it right in one take, we wouldn't have to worry about it.
Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of ARG Presents, an episode that's midway between good and bad. I'm Amigo Aaron, joined by a man who's midway between bad and absolutely horrible, the Brent.
I'll accept that.
You don't have a choice, brother. It's been done. So, if you joined us last week, we spun the wheel and we made the deal, an incredible deal, to take a look at games from the beloved old school to new school super duper arcade and console producer Midway.
Yes, developer, producer, they pretty much did it all.
That's right. That's right. This is a company that's been around for a long time. They produce a lot of quality titles. I thought before we got to our chosen titles, we'd take a quick look at the history of Midway, maybe go over a few of the games that they produced.
You know what? I've actually been looking forward to this all week. I think this will be good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, with that ringing endorsement, how can it fail? So, Midway Games Incorporated, which was originally known as Midway Manufacturing, is a company that was that's been around since 1958.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Actually, the predecessor to it was Midway Manufacturing, which was founded in '58. So, and of course, they did a bunch of different stuff. In '73, it moved into interactive entertainment industry, doing arcade machines, stuff like that. And it was purchased. Now, I always wondered what the scoop was on this. Because it's hard to, Midway's past is, and I'll get into it, but it's crazy. It's a lot of wrangling and wheeling and dealing.
Right.
The company was purchased and reincorporated in 1988 by Williams. So WMS Industries, which we just talked about during the pinball episode, and we've actually done. I think we did Williams way back.
Yes, we did
a show about them.
Yes.
So. This company, again, it was around since the 50s, but it got its big break in 1978. Now, I'm going to ask you, this is a guessing game for you. What do you think the big, massive, incredibly popular, probably the most popular game they ever did of all time, 1978, what do you think it was?
1978? Oh, my gosh, I don't know. I mean, that's way back.
Well, it's
some version of Pong?
No, God, no. Space Invaders.
Oh, I didn't. Oh,
they were the American distributor for Space Invaders, which Roy put them on the map. In '98, so keep in mind that Williams purchased them, and they were part of the WMS family. That's why you see stuff that says, when you see stuff that says Midway or Bally Midway, they're basically Williams was basically running the show. They spun them off. It's actually quite complicated. So let's talk about some of the things that Midway produced. Now they produced a bunch of games, as you can imagine.
Oh yes.
You know, and I want to get right away. I don't want to go too far into history before we talk about some of their games. I'm just going to run through some of these and see what you think about them. So, in no particular order, all right. And I'm just going to do some of the highlights. Midway was responsible. Now, Midway, as Brent mentioned, was a publisher and a developer.
Yes.
And sometimes it's hard to tell which is which. Which I'll get into later. But
especially with my game,
they were responsible for some games like they did the Blitz series.
Yep.
Right.
Mega popular.
They did, and keep in mind they collaborate with a lot of people, like Tari, for example. So they were responsible for Area 51. Remember that, the gun game? They did Arch Rivals, which was sort of the predecessor to NBA Jam. They hooked up with Nintendo to do the Cruis'n series, Cruis'n USA.
Yep.
They did Defender and Defender 2 with Williams in some areas. Yep. So it's real weird. The Tron, Discs of Tron and Tron, that was them. They did the Gauntlet. The advanced Gauntlet games, the Gauntlet Legends, Gauntlet Dark Legends.
The 90s.
Now, Galaga, Gorf. We're looking at a Galaga machine right here in our arcade, and if you look at the marquee, it says Galaga by Midway, and then in the corner it says Bally.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. It's a weird stuff like that. They did, like, believe it or not, since we talked about this a while back, at least the Super Nintendo version, they helped do Killer Instinct.
Yep.
There's another one they did, the Killer Instinct series.
That was more distribution. Of
course, the Mortal Kombat series, the NBA Jam and NBA Showtimes and all the NBA stuff. They were Pac-Man. Was another one that was licensed to them, but they brought that one to the States. Yep. And you see, I've got a list here. I could go into forever. The San Francisco Rush, Root Beer Tapper, Seawolves, the Spy Hunters, Tapper. tons of great games.
Yeah.
WWF WrestleMania, a guilty pleasure of mine. So these guys did a ton of games. Now, the funny thing is when you try to, I've got a manual here of Midway bullet points. But the funny thing is, half these bullet points are the demise of the company.
Yeah, well, that's because they crashed so spectacularly.
They did. So in '91, Midway, WMS spun Midway off at one point, okay?
Yeah.
And Midway absorbed Williams video game division in '91.
Yep.
Okay, so think about this for a minute.
Yep.
They were owned by Williams, then they were spun off, then
Yep.
they became their own company, then they absorbed Williams video game
That's
section,
right.
which is why stuff like Defender and Joust are amongst their titles because technically they own them now.
Yes.
But they were still part of the company when they were made. So they went public in '96. And with stock, and which was great. They did, hey, that's a big step, right? And of course, at this point, Williams is doing home games, a lot of console games. So in '98, Williams basically gave up its remaining interest in Midway. So basically, at that point, they sort of became their own company again, entirely. Okay.
Yes.
Before that, Williams still had the controlling stake in the actual company. So then Midway also picked up the Atari property at some point.
Yeah, that's right.
So which is why games like Cyberball and stuff, these were games that Midway was involved that ended up being in Midway's library. It's very bizarre. So and now get this, in '99. Because Midway had, since they were with Williams, they were involved in the pinball game. They left the pinball industry to concentrate on video games. So the last time Midway was involved. Now I thought about that. Do you know pinball machines that Midway?
No, not that support the Midway.
Yeah, I don't think I know any that did it. So this is where things start going south for Midway. In 2000, Midway changed the name of the Atari Games subsidiary to Midway Games West. Because there were two Ataris at this point.
Yeah.
There was Atari that was owned by Hasbro Interactive. There was that section of Atari. Then there was the Atari they had. And their Atari wasn't worth that much, apparently, so they decided to spin it off. And I think they owned the Atari Arcade division post a certain date. Right? Does this make any sense to you? And I think Hasbro owned all their old assets and their old arcade games.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
When I was reading over it, that area was especially confusing.
So now here's the bummer. So right, and here comes 2001. Midway closed its arcade division due to financial losses.
Well, yeah.
So,
the arcades were dead at this point.
And then in 2003, they shut down the former Atari division because that was the end of it. So that right there marks the end of the original Atari Corporation, which that's kind of a bummer. But again, the Atari had been flipping and flopping like a dead fish on a hot sidewalk for a while. So now here's where it goes real south. They were losing money since 2000, and in 2003 they lost $115 million. And so what do you do when that happens? You go out and you buy a bunch of other video game production companies. So in 2004, they went out and acquired. There's some decent names in here. They acquired Surreal Software. They acquired Inevitable Entertainment, which was in Texas. They also acquired Paradox Development of Moore Park, California. All right, so they had to pick these up. In 2005, they weren't done yet. Now get this one. This is a good one. They acquired the Australian developer Ratbag Games. Ratbag Games known for, I don't know what. I never heard of Ratbag. That's a horrible name for a game studio. So they renamed it Melbourne Studios, and then 4 months later, they shut it down. So a brilliant acquisition there.
Well, they might have been picking up their properties.
I don't know.
Their assets.
Ratbag was rich in fine games. So now in 2004, you thought it was bad. But in 2004, 2005, Midway lost $20 million, and then on the sales of $162 million. That means their losses were $20 million higher. That's a you think about these losses. It's not good.
No.
And then in 2005, they lost $112 million again. So now this is where it gets fishy. There was a guy named Redstone that was running the company. In 2005, he voted to elect his daughter, the chairman of the board, and then basically voted his shares to her. Okay, yeah, there's a reason for this stuff. It's called crookery.
Oh yeah.
Now, with all that said, they were still the number 4 game publisher in 2000.
Wow.
But in 2008, they had fallen to number 20. And that's with acquiring all those studios and stuff. So
that's crazy to think about.
In 2007, they lost. In 2006, they lost 77 million. 2007, they lost 100 million. So keep in mind, this is like $500 million they probably lost. Then they got to be in a legal battle. That didn't do them any favors over the rights for the game PsyOps. Why would you go to court over those? Who knows? I guess they were important at the time. They lose money for years and years. And finally, and I thought this was ironic, Midway in October 2008, the last game they released was TNA Impact, based on the 5th String Wrestling promotion, TNA. And they also released Blitz the League, which I hated that game.
That was a big gamble for them that did not pay off.
Right.
Blitz the League. I remember because they hyped it and they were wanting it to be big like Blitz was, but I agree they went too far. Yeah.
So they were real hyped about they were thinking they were getting ready to make a rebound, but I'm looking at these losses. You're talking 220 million or $191 million loss in 2008. That's a ton of money.
Yeah.
And people there are wranglings going on, and new purchases and stuff are coming in, but they're flailing. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to go through this step by step, but I mean, this is just them flopping around. It's real pathetic. So they finally declared bankruptcy on July 1st of 2008. And put most of the company's assets went to Warner Brothers, of all places, and they most of which they wanted the Mortal Kombat properties.
Of course, yeah. That's where the money was.
Yeah, and now of course, there was wranglings over the guy who had ran the studio. Okay, well, guess what? He got taken to court, and this is what I love. The judge, I want to quote this. The judge ruled that Midway shareholders had not shown that the executives said or did anything more than publicly adopt a hopeful posture. And the reason they said that is because Midway, right before they went bankrupt, had been telling everybody this was going to be the big year, right? Then they went bankrupt, and so the shareholders took them to court, and the judge could not rule them guilty. Okay, but listen to this. The judge said, this decision was not an endorsement of any of the defendants' actions. The defendants oversaw the ruin of a once highly successful company only to hide behind the protective skirt of Delaware law, which the court is bound to apply. Yeah. The judge basically said, listen, what you did was horrible. You destroyed the company, and I have no choice. There's nothing I can do in the law to get you.
Yep.
So you got away with it. You're scumbags, basically. Yep. And that was that.
And that's the American way.
As it finally fizzled out, Midway Amusements and its assets were acquired. What was left of them was acquired by Haps Controls, the video game controller manufacturer.
The remains that after time Warner took what they wanted. Yeah.
So basically, it was a sad ending to a sad company that was so proud, that had so many big hits.
Huge.
And it was it's real tough to think that that's the way that they went out. I mean, just to think about every game that's got a Midway, not just stuff they developed, but the stuff that they were involved in. It's like hundreds and hundreds and probably 1,000 games that they were involved in. And their names over every place. You see them on everything. Yeah. And they worked with everyone.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they oversaw so many projects.
Yeah.
And back in the day, like you said, when something was published by Midway or developed by Midway, you knew it was going to be something of some quality. I mean, that promise certainly tapered off at the end. But
that's true. That's true.
Midway, they were always they were one of the publishers that I respected, and that's. I don't do that with a lot of publishers because a lot of them are greedy jerks, and look what they ended up being, greedy jerks.
They did wilt in their later years.
There's no doubt about that. I mean, they didn't adapt, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But to see such a mighty company go down like that.
You know, the one thing that I did learn from all this, I didn't realize the vast power that WMS had.
Oh, they're huge.
You know, you really don't think about, when you think about Williams, they've got the classic games, but you don't think about their who they own. I mean, effectively, that's a massive company.
Yeah.
So with that rich library to choose from, me and the Brent picked a couple games that we thought were good representations of Midway, I think. So we're going to let Brent start the show. Now, Brent, why don't you tell us what you've got in store this week?
I went with Journey, the arcade game. Not to be mistaken with Journey Escape for the Atari 2600 that had came out the year before. The two games are not related in any way, although they are often, one is often cited as the sequel to the other.
Yeah.
And that's not true.
I've actually called the arcade game, I've called it Journey Escape, and mistakenly many times.
Yeah. Well, when Journey came out was at the peak of Starcade, and the Starcade guy even says that this is the sequel to Journey Escape.
Wow, Starcade facts. I got to give you credit on that.
So, yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions. So Journey Escape has nothing to do with this game. Just wanted to get that out and past it. Journey was developed by Marvin Glass and Associates. Now, do you have any idea who Marvin Glass and Associates are?
I don't know.
Do you know a little thing called Fisher Price?
Yeah, I know that.
Mattel, Milton Bradley.
So they're big wheels.
Parker's Brothers. They've made toys for all of them.
Oh, so
they were a toy company.
All right.
And this was one of their first and one of their only steps into arcade games. And they were guided by Midway, Bally Midway at the time, to produce Journey. Journey's got even a more interesting background than that, because the camera technology that's used to capture the faces in Journey, they have digitized faces of all the band members, was never meant to be used for the game. It was going to be attached to an arcade cabinet, so whenever you got a high score, it would take your picture and have a little picture of your face. Well, of course, that got abused right from the get-go, and people were flashing the camera and doing other rude things and holding up rude signs. So that got completely scrapped.
You can never underestimate how low people
yeah. That's right. So they had the technology of this digital capture. This was back in '83.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we're going to do something with it. And they put it into capturing the band of Journey. This is at the peak of Journey's popularity in the early '80s, when they were doing a lot of touring before the fallout, when they lost their lead singer left and everything. Something I did not know, while Journey was a huge band in the United States,
they're awesome.
Their global fame is not nearly as large as you would think.
Really?
I mean,
that is surprising.
Over in Europe and the UK, they are still popular. They got to like 6th on the charts, where over here they were hitting #1 on a regular basis.
It's funny, when I was doing a little research for your game, I was talking to my buddy at work, and we there's so many great Journey songs that's unbelievable.
Yes.
I mean, they had hit after hit after hit, and they were all gold.
Absolutely.
And I hate everything, but Journey, one of the all-time. I mean, in America, I would consider them amongst the all-time great rock bands. I mean, they're amongst the top.
Yeah, they're right up there with Boston.
And their lead singer, they're way ahead of Boston.
Oh, I think they're equal
grounds. And their lead singer, Steve Perry, what's his name?
Steve Perry.
Steve Perry. He's a guy with a voice that's up in there. He's one of the few guys that's up in the same high altitudes as, say, Queen, Freddie Mercury. I mean, this guy's can belt out a tune like nobody's business.
Yep. So the game itself was released only in the arcades, and consisted of a multi-stage, choose-your-own-stage type of affair. There were 5 mini-games, it's kind of mini-games that you could play, each revolving around the band members. And just to run through them real quick, Steve Smith on the drums. His stage was you would bounce on drum heads to try to turn them all blue. And then the second part of the stage is you take your drum kit and you blast your way to the bottom of the screen as enemies come up at you. The guitarist Neil, he has a lunar lander type stage where he's in a jetpack and he maneuvers through caverns. Once he acquires his guitar, he can shoot bullets out of it and has to fight his way back up to the surface. Steve Perry, as you mentioned, lead singer, microphone, starts at the top of the stage, and there's swinging gates that you have to avoid to get down to the bottom to get your microphone, where it turns out to shoot bullets, and you fight your way back up to the top of the screen. Ross, the bass guitarist, has a level where you jump on these towers, and the towers grow, and you have to jump to the top of the screen. You have to time it as the tower grows to the top. As large as the tower gets, you press left or right, and it will let you jump on another tower until you get to the top of the screen. And then, of course, the bass starts firing bullets, and you get down to the bottom of the screen. And finally, you have Jonathan on keyboard, which has a reverse Donkey Kong style level where you start at the top of the screen, and beams on conveyor belts you have to jump over them to get to the bottom, and then once you get to the bottom, of course, your piano starts shooting bullets, and you have to try to get back up to the top of the screen.
These are mad, crazy instruments.
and after all of this happens, you are rewarded with a 6th stage where you control a bouncer trying to stop galactic groupies from storming the stage and taking all of the instruments from the band, and thus repeating the whole cycle.
They want them as souvenirs. They're not actually trying to kill the band.
No, yeah, right. They're right.
Think about it. Why would you come to this show? It's like, we're going to steal their instruments.
So, why did I pick Journey? What makes this game unique? There are 2 major factors. One, which we've kind of already talked about, the digitizing of the band members' faces, and then put on these cartoony style but super colorful bodies was, first of all, it was the first game that ever did it. Mm-hmm. It was the only game to ever do it like this, and it was a unique visual that really stands out as something that was never duplicated again. The face detail was adequate. You could certainly tell who the people were if you knew the band ahead of time. Yeah. They were fuzzy but not horrible, and the cartoon bodies that they were attached to were comical because it made the heads oversized so you could see the details in the faces. But it all kind of worked for the type of game that it was. Obviously, this was a lighthearted game that was never supposed to be on par with some of the Defenders and stuff, the grittier games. It was just a lighthearted romp. The second massive thing that was almost never done before or since was when you got to the concert, it actually played a tape recorder inside of the machine and would play, oh shoot, what's the name of the song, Aaron?
I don't know. I never went to an arcade where I had a working tape recorder, so I don't know.
Separate Ways. I wanted to say Sideways. I knew that wasn't right. Separate Ways, one of the Journey's big hits at the time, would play from inside the machine, and as long as you could stop the groupies from rushing the stage, you could hear the song play. And it was cassette quality sound coming out of an arcade machine, which was kind of crazy at the time. It was something that would draw your attention to the machine whenever you were standing around because you would hear this quality music coming out. The machine got mixed reviews, but I want to talk about the band's view of it first.
Oh, yeah, I want to hear this.
Everyone except Steve Perry, and we'll talk about him in a second, was on board. They loved the idea. All of them played video games at the time. All of them saw this technology, and they weren't uber pumped, but they said, you know what, this could be fun, let's do it. It wasn't about, the only thing they requested was the game not be violent. That was the band's overall request. And so even though you are shooting, every band member shoots bullets, they're not hurting anyone. You're really just shooting inanimate objects for the most part.
Floating blocks, or it's nothing really. There's nothing like that. It looks like an animal, really.
Correct.
Yeah.
And when you lose, when one of the band members dies, they don't die. They just fall to the bottom of the screen and their head kind of tilts.
And it plays this little sad song. Dee, dee, dee,
yeah.
dee, dee.
So that was the band's take on the whole thing. Steve Perry is interviewed as not being as happy with it, and he thought the game was boring. He said that he wasn't on board. He said that the band didn't need that kind of fame or distraction. But I have an opinion on this.
All right.
I feel, and this I can't back this up with any proof, but I think a lot of that interview was taken out of context, because this was when someone sat down and did a Q&A with them.
Yeah.
And they asked him, one of the questions, many questions, was, what do you think about this arcade game? I think what he was trying to say was, having a video game made after you was a status thing. And they didn't need that status. They were already popular enough. If you go back and you read the actual interview and the actual quotes that are being done, that, to me, that's what it sounds like. I don't think he's saying, I don't like this video game. I think he's saying, we didn't need a video game to be popular. Why are we doing a video game?
But didn't you say he said it was boring?
Well, that was one of the first things he said. And I don't think he was saying that the video game itself was boring, because I doubt he ever played it, to be honest. He was one of the members of the bands that wasn't into games as much as everyone else. But I think the process, because he had to sit down and get his face digitized. They digitized their faces while they were on tour.
Yeah.
So he had to sit down for that process. And back in this time, it wasn't click, click, you're done. They had to readjust lighting and do all this stuff. And I think he found that part of the process tedious and boring. Mm-hmm. So I could be completely wrong with that.
Conjecture.
We'll never know for sure. But if you go back and read the interview with that mindset, I really think it changes your perspective. This game actually had a cocktail version, which I have never seen out in the wild.
No, I haven't either. I've seen the upright many times.
The stand-up of this was based off of the album cover at the time, with the big blue head.
The scarab thing.
The scarab ship. Well, the scarab was their symbol for many albums. It was kind of their ongoing thing. And that was the shape of your ship that you fly through space is a little scarab that everyone jumps into. This is said to have an 8-way joystick. It does not. It has a 4-way joystick. And the reason why that is important is you never use a diagonal in the game. You might think you are, but you're not.
Yeah. No, I believe you. Yeah.
The button.
I'm thinking about it, because you don't really do any diagonal maneuvers.
Yeah. The button on it was just was labeled blast.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny. Other trivia about the game. This was, of course, Journey's not their first video game. They had Journey Escape, but it was the first arcade game licensed to a band. Something else, this got in, I believe it was 2012, a magazine rated this the 9th worst licensed game of all time. And that, my friends, is crap. Crap.
What year was that said?
I believe it was 2012. There was so much poorly licensed game by that point.
Clearly, they never touched the GBA or Game Boy at that point.
Am I saying that Journey is some kind of spectacular marvel? No, I'm not. It's good. It's fun. It's stupid fun that you can play for 15 minutes and then move on. Okay? You can go for your high scores because it tracks that kind of garbage. And playing the band members is fun. And hearing the concert clips is fun. It's fun. Okay? 9th worst license of all time. Ridiculous.
No way.
Ridiculous.
No way. No way. I agree with that.
The overall feel about this game is meh. It's an average arcade game for the era, which I agree with. What do you think this thing sells for, Aaron?
Oh boy, it's probably going for some decent cash. I'm gonna guess $1,200.
The boards themselves run about $800.
Oh yeah, well there you go.
A fully restored cabinet, tape drive working, a replacement tape drive, because the tape drives they put in these things were crap. Yeah. Broke all the time.
And that was when in the arcade often. In fact, I'm not sure I ever heard the actual music.
Yeah.
And it's not supported in Maine. I don't ever hear it on there either.
Right.
So.
Well, you can get samples. The arcade restored version of this, upwards of $8 grand.
Wow.
$8 grand, folks. That's kind of crazy.
Do you have any idea how many units were made?
I don't. I don't think an official release was ever given in it. I don't even think they have an estimation, in fact. No, they don't. Not even an estimation on how many were actually released. But considering the complication of the bezel and the production of that, because it's a full bezel that actually leans out farther than most arcade bezels, and the tape drive or the tape player inside, I would say it was limited release. Plus, they were trying to capitalize on the tour that Journey was making across America and release it at the same time, and they released a little late, obviously because they took the digital pictures while they were on tour. So I think that killed some of the momentum of getting a lot of these machines built. They still, of course, did finish it and release it, but not nearly in the wide span that they were going to. What was your thoughts on Journey?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I love this game. I think it's great. It's got that, it's very Tron-like in the opening. First of all, the graphics in this, I mean, for the era are outstanding. There's a bit at the beginning where all your digitized guys get into the Scarab ship. They all hop into it, and the thing flies off. And then you get to pick which level you go to. And like I said, there's, 5 levels. And the levels, again, in a Tron-y, it's very Tron-like. Yeah. And the levels are all different. Now, some levels are better than others. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, I think the jetpack level is pretty good. I like the microphone level, which I believe is the one where you're jumping over the little gates. I think those are my 2 favorite levels.
The Donkey Kong is piano.
The piano, that's it. Yeah. I like the microphone too. And I don't hate any of the levels. I'm not as fond of the little upward tower jumping level or the bouncing level. That's my least favorite, but they're still pretty good. It's also fun just to watch these goofy guys, like with their face, and I think the faces change frame. Yeah,
they have 5 or 6 captures per band member.
And it's funny when they die, they fall on their butt, they don't get killed, But I liked it. The fact that at the end of each level, it changes into something else.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of gameplay there. And the concert level is pretty interesting looking. The effects are pretty cool, strobing and stuff. The cabinet's beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful.
If you're a Journey fan, which a lot of people are, it's a tremendous, beautiful piece of Journey memorabilia.
Yeah.
Which I didn't surprise me that's so expensive. I remember when this came out, it was not popular. Even when in the arcade, I hardly ever saw anybody playing it. And I think a lot of people thought it was goofy because it was goofy. It was
goofy, yeah.
But
goofy's not bad.
For me, this is what I liked about that era. And the thing is, you're getting 5 games in one. Now, none of these games are good enough to stand on their own merit, but together they work out just fine. Again, in the same vein as Tron, I think the guy that worked on Tron worked on this. I'm pretty sure he did.
They actually share a lot of the same innards, the cabinet innards. So they were definitely being made at the same time. You can actually take the coin door and the mechs out of a Tron and put into this.
I think that in a lot of games, though. But
well, no. The wiring is all the same. All the internal wiring is the same.
Overall, I like this game. If you could, and I don't get there often, but if you can get to the level where you fight the groupies off, it's a nice climatic ending to the game.
Oh, I can loop twice now. I can loop it twice.
In my day, I could get there often, but it is the primary portion of the game is not that difficult when you're doing getting the instrument, but when you actually have it, getting out is the hardest part.
Well, and each level has you can learn, and on the next loop, everything's sped up and harder, and there's more, and that continues throughout the game to the point where, it gets to the point where some of the levels are so fast, especially where you're bouncing on the drums, which seems like it should be the easiest level, but it's probably the hardest level.
In some ways, those levels are crazy because if you jump on a drum twice, it disappears because you're changing them colors. So eventually, you run out of drums if you jump on too much.
Yeah, and just fall to the ground. Yeah.
I like the fact that each level has a little journey tune.
Yeah.
The different tune.
Little MIDI journey tune.
You know, and which is cool. I mean, I think that's an awesome element. If you're a Journey fan, this is a great. I mean, we're in an era now where there's lots of rock and roll like pinball machines and stuff. It's the same thing. It's just this was a long time ago.
Sure, so, I have a question for you.
I endorse it.
I have a question for you. If you can try to separate the two, if this did not have Journey behind it, let's just say this was just some generic. It still had digitized faces, but it was just of nameless guys. No soundtrack at the end, no MIDIs of popular songs. Would you have still enjoyed it?
Oh, yeah. It's supposed the gameplay's fun. And the thing is, it's fun, it's simple. It's simple but complex. The Journey element, I think, is spicy in a lot of ways because I like the band. But, I mean, it's not like I love the band. I can name all the players. I mean, but I think it's a fun game. But it's wacky. I like wacky.
It's
unusual. That's what I think. That's what I like about it.
This is an interesting question I've just posed to myself. Because I don't think I would like this game at all if it wasn't tied to Journey, and that is usually a sign of a bad game. Because I think the fun of this is hearing the tunes that you come to expect with Journey, and the in the arcade setting, getting that real music playing for the stage show. I think that is a reward for enduring the game, enduring the stages. So I think if you strip Journey out of this, I would probably give this a pass.
I will say in a game where you could license something and sort of skin it a little bit. This game's Journey all the way through.
Absolutely.
The instrument gathering, the ship, the way they look, the cabinet. They've fully journeyed it up, and that means something. I mean, it's because they didn't do a half job. They sat down and think about, okay, what can we do with this band that would be interesting in the game? Go get their instruments, and then when you do the concert, and instruments get taken away. It makes sense that you go back and try to get them again. That's it.
So, what did you bring to the Midway table on this fine afternoon?
Let me tell you something. I bring you Satan.
There you go.
Satan. Yes.
Hello, Dark Lord.
Yes. So I have picked as my Midway title, Satan's Hollow. Ooh, scary.
Wow, talk about changing gears.
That's right. I love me some Satan's Hollow. So, Satan's Hollow, released by Midway, or Bally Midway. It's another one of those. 1981. This is old school, Brittany. Now,
2 years before mine.
So, Satan's Hollow, it's a simple premise. Kill the devil. That's what you do.
Which, I guess if we were praising Satan, we wouldn't want to play this game.
No, you get killed. I'm not praising him. I've come here to kill him. So, in this game, you effectively are... Now, is there an official backstory? I don't know it. But, in my opinion, you journey to hell. To hell itself.
What a tie-in.
You've got a rocket launching shooter device at the bottom of the screen, a la Space Invaders or anything else. And you are out to kill the devil and his minions of demons. They must die. So this game is a shooting game, which, again, usually not my bag. But old school games of this type are my bag. So in this game, it starts off in this very bleak, very helly looking environment, right? Skies all wacky colors.
Yeah, it's a twilight.
You're in it's almost like a moonscape. There's a huge mountain on the side of the screen with a castle on top of it. It's eerie, y'all, and it's awesome looking.
Yeah, it is.
And you start out with a kind of this orangish ship at the bottom of the screen, and what you're doing is just shooting upwards, and there are demons. The first screen is the demons are flying in formation, and eventually the demons will come down to get you. They're coming to get you. This is the first wave, and your job is to kill all these demons. Now, every so often, a demon on the right of the screen is sort of a chasm. Okay.
Yeah. And a fire river.
Yeah, every so often, a demon will drop what basically looks like a girder.
Well, every time you kill one and the girder's not there, it'll make a new girder.
And you go over and get the girder, and you slide to the right side of the screen, and you've began building the bridge.
Yes.
The bridge to the heart of hell.
Yes.
Right? So, there are different waves that come out, and as they come out, you will be encountering different levels of speed, different formations, and even some different creatures with some different fire ability.
Yeah, there's several different projectiles that they throw down. Some that can even destroy the bridge.
Yeah. So, and your job, again, it's simple. You have to build this bridge. Now, there's two ways to do this, right? I'm going to go ahead and just tell you how the game works, and I'll tell you some strategies that I have. So, when you start going through these waves, it doesn't take long before they ramp it up. And eventually, you're getting they'll just send everyone down at you. Yeah. They'll come down and they'll circle back around. Including there's a little green devil guy, like a devil knight or whatever, and so some of the guys will throw these shots that will come down and explode, and they'll create fire in an area, and you can, even after the shot hits, you have to avoid it for a while because the fire stays there. Something else that happens, which is there is precedent to this, but I'd never seen it before. These scumbag devils, they're not going to play fair because they're from hell. They come down, and while you're fighting them, they'll come down and go below you. They'll fly below where you're at and go down and try to grab one of your
spare men.
One of your spare men that you haven't used, and they'll take them away.
Yeah.
And so you've got to shoot them before they take your spare man away. Evil.
Yes, it's awesome.
It's an evil addition to the game.
It's awesome.
Every couple waves on this screen, you will encounter I don't know. Would you say this is the main devil, or is this? I'd say this is a minor devil, or the son of the devil. It's this big devil face with a pitchfork in his arm. All right, and he flies around by himself at the top of the screen, and he'll breathe a long stream of fire.
Yes.
Right, and it's not just like a shot of fire. It's a long stream, and he'll scoot along with the fire out.
Yeah, left and right, trying to basically
he's basically strafing you with fire.
Yeah.
And what you've got to do is avoid his fiery breath of doom, and you've got to shoot him. And if you shoot him, he goes away, and you get your points. You get to continue on with the next stage of demons. So, here you are. You're in hell. You're building this bridge because the bridge goes to super hell.
Yeah.
All right? And so... Once you build the bridge and Flight of the Valkyries is playing, you're really getting fired up, right? You go across the bridge, and then you're in super hell.
Yes.
That's when you fight the main devil, right?
What?
The main devil is this little guy who throws I don't know if he's throwing pitchforks. Let's go. But they throw large weapons.
Well, he throws tons of stuff.
But
he throws fireballs and pitchforks.
He throws pitchforks at you.
And he is fast.
He's fast.
And tiny.
Now, what you do is you try to shoot him.
Yeah.
All right? He's tough to hit, and he's quick.
Yeah.
So, once you shoot him, you will go back to the original level, and the gameplay repeats.
Yes.
Now, every time you finish a wave in this game, the castle raises a little white flag. It's a flag of hellish surrender, right? And so you want to stack these flags up because... Once you stack these flags up and you go to the super hell and kill that guy, it will give you points based on how many flags you've got.
That's right.
So, here's a strategy for all you hot tippers out there. What you do is you hang out on the first screen as long as possible because you can rack those flags up and you'll get you'll get more points when you go over to kill the super devil. All right, what you always do. And another thing about having the bridge there is that. If you really get in trouble, you can flee and go fight the super devil, which that's almost inevitably what ends up happening because when these things come down, they'll come down in a wave of 10 or 15 ships and they're just going crazy.
They're just dive bombing. Now, of course, you do have your shield.
That's right.
As your backup defense.
And the shield in this is great because it's
great.
Unlike in some games where once you hit the shield, you just sort of stand there. The shield, you can tap this thing and use it intermittently, which is great. It's not like if you've ever, this game is often compared to Phoenix, which is another great game. And that one you fight killer birds, right? And then the bird home ship or whatever. And now when you hit the shield, it just goes, and you sort of stand there and then you hope for the best. In this game, that you can move around with the shield going, and you can tap it and just use it just for the exact split seconds you need it to survive. And you're going to need that shield because of the raining hellfire that comes down from above.
And the shield can be used as an offensive weapon. You get 15 ticks of shield, and they're certainly not seconds. It drains super fast. And then when you're not using the shield, it slowly recharges.
Right.
But you can hold the shield button and pull left or right on the joystick and just wipe out waves of enemies that have come to dive bomb you. So not only is it a defensive thing, it can also be used as an offensive weapon.
Right. So I found a great website where a guy went over some of the wackier points in this and compared them to other games. And his contention here is that Satan's Hollow is sort of an amalgamation of other games, all smushed together. I'm going to go over these and see if you agree with this guy, because I find it kind of interesting. So when the guy goes down and gets your extra ship, right, he's used the comparison of the ducks in Carnival eating your bullets, which I can see that.
Yeah,
okay. The background reminds him of Pleiades, or I've never pronounced this correctly. Pleiades. You know, we've played it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't agree with that. He says the shield is the same as in Phoenix. We disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Because you can move. And he says some of the other stuff reminds him of Galaga, because you can actually power up as you go forward, your shooting becomes quicker.
Well, every time you defeat Super Satan, you add an additional gun to your ship, up to 3 guns. So it gives you motivation if you're not point pressing by collecting flags before you go over. You keep your flags that you get, but there is a balance between when you can get over there and versus how many flags you've collected, and what color the flags are matters. But the most important thing to note is when you defeat Super Satan, it adds a gun to your ship, up to 3 guns, and it adds a lot of firepower.
You need it. Something else that'll happen in this game is as you move to different levels, the background will change color.
It goes from
it's cool looking too.
It goes from evening to twilight to dark.
Yeah.
And it actually hides the demons in the darkness.
Yeah. By the way, I've got a list here. It's a scoring list, but more importantly, it names all the bad guys. So there's gargoyles are worth 120 points. They just look like flying like pterodactyls almost. Then you've got the bridge bombers. They actually will go over and physically try to destroy the bridge. Yeah. The funny thing about the bridge in this is it's not that big a deal to get new pieces. I mean, so I've never found that difficult.
The gap gets larger and larger to the point where you need more pieces, and until you build the bridge, it limits how much you can move at the bottom of the screen. So in the later stages, when you don't have a bridge built, you only get a move on about 1/3 of the screen, which gives you 1/3 of the dodging.
It's an awesome element.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's a great element. And the thing is, this game has a lot of moving parts that make it, as a whole, an interesting game.
Oh, yes.
So anyway, you've got the bridge bomb, then you've got the egg thrower. This is the guy I was talking about that throws the thing down that blows up, and the explosion stays for a few seconds. So if you move into it, you die.
It's kind of napalm-ish.
Then you've got Beelzebub, Old Nick, Lucifer, and Satan all in the game. So those are the different guys. So just to cut to the chase, I love this game. I loved it the second I saw it because it had the guts to put. I mean, just the fact that this is a devil and hell-based game in an arcade. Yeah. I remember the first time I saw this, I looked around. I was like, what am I seeing here? I don't want people to see me go play this. And I think this was part of the downfall of Satan's Hollow, because it did receive some heat, no pun intended, from the community for the fact that it was a devil-based shooter.
Yeah.
The thing is, they don't get the point. You're down there to kill Satan. You're not down there to praise him. The bridge element, great. It adds an extra added benefit of, again, giving the game an extra element to it.
Yes.
And as he said, as the gap gets larger, it becomes more important. The ship stealing thing, love it.
Yes.
It's the only game I've seen. It's the only game I remember doing that. I mean, you could. It's sort of the reverse Galaga, where you give a ship up, and this you're desperately trying to cling to your ships. The shield, again, the ability to move with the shield can't be understated. It's a key element in the game.
Oh, and it feels so satisfying to turn that shield on and just ram through a bunch of enemies and blow them up.
Because you'll kill them if you ram them with the shield up. The fact that also when you're showered with so many projectiles, it's a necessity to have to use it. And the flag element, it sounds like a trifle, but as you see these flags mount up and you know you're getting points for each one, you can really become a real point hoarder, can't you?
Yeah.
You really go after these points. And you really try to stay on these stages as long as you can. And that's a fun element. I mean, they knew what they were doing when they put this together. This is a game that from the ground up, was a players type game. They really had a good idea of what they were putting together.
I will say that this is probably my favorite arcade shooter of all time.
Really?
Yes. Because
I didn't know you were that big a fan.
Oh my gosh. This is something I play on MAME and I come back to again and again. A few things you didn't mention about the arcade that I think deserve mention. The side art for this game is Satan with this globe in his hand, like holding it up to the gods. It's really awesome with a big winged Satan. It's really awesome looking. Also, this game uses the same Tron stick, the arcade flight stick.
Yeah.
And it has the trigger button is fire, and there's a button on the cabinet for shield. I actually do not like this part of the game. I would much rather have two buttons. I always feel that the trigger button on those flight sticks is complicated. You can't hit it as fast as you can a button on the machine.
I think that's probably part of the plan.
You might be right. So I enjoy playing this, although I haven't played this in an arcade setting for probably 30 years. So I might feel differently about it now. But I love playing this in MAME. The combination of the shield, the bridge building, the flags, the day-night cycle for the stage coloring, everything about this comes together in such a complete package that I cannot find fault in.
Yeah, this is one of those. Now, here's a couple of interesting facts. Of course, this does have two-player support, but not simultaneously.
No, it's
hot seat. Also, it's one of those games that only lets you put in 2 initials for your name.
Yes,
which is much like Tron. This game's got a lot in common with Tron.
Yeah, it does.
Including the joystick. So get this. Now, this is where I fumbled a little bit, and I cannot say that without. I can't say for certainty that this is true, but from what I looked at a couple places and I only saw this one spot. Allegedly, this was designed. It was programmed and designed by an outfit called Arcade Engineering, who designed a bunch of games for Midway, and eventually Midway bought them in '85. They owned basically Arcade Engineering. Now I only read that one place, and I couldn't find anything out about Arcade Engineering. They did do some earlier games, but in some places I didn't even see this numbered amongst them. So take that with a grain of salt. Arcade Engineering apparently a pretty small. I mean, when you get into the early '80s, you're really going to have trouble. And this is the early '80s. This game says the copyright on it's '81, but it actually didn't get released until '82.
Yeah.
Something else I found interesting amongst the wacky details. If you look at the wiring harnesses in this thing, they're labeled. All right. Some of them are labeled Satan's Master.
Ooh.
And some of them are labeled Satan's Power. And apparently these were pre-production possibilities for the name of the game before they went with Satan Hall. By the way, Satan Hall, better name.
You
don't want Satan's Master, Satan Power.
Well, Satan Master doesn't make sense. And Satan's Power, not bad. I mean,
no, Satan's Master would be you. You're killing Satan.
Boy, I don't know.
I mean, I don't like that as much as Satan's Hollow.
Satan's Hollow is a good ring.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Now, the game, by the way, was designed by a fellow named Bill Adams. So here's the thing about this. It was only ported basically the C64, right? But yeah, now and it's a pretty good version, you know. But it has appeared in about 4 million of the Midway arcade treasures. It should be in the mall. It's great.
It should.
It's easy to play.
That's right.
I looked this up on the eBay, Brenny.
All right.
And there were no complete Satan's Hollow cabinets. I'm sorry to say. In fact, there were not even really any boards to speak of. I saw one board that had sold, and I believe it sold for like a couple $100, but it was a while back. But this is a game you don't see pop up that often. And there's a reason for it, because it's awesome, and no one's willing to give it up.
No one's willing to sell it. I can believe that.
The cabinet, as Brent stated, is top shelf, and it looks awesome in the arcade. I would love to have one. If one popped up around here and I could afford it, it would be in the arcade. I would make room.
Absolutely.
You know, this is
absolutely.
And this is one of those shooters that it's got so many elements it never gets old.
It really. I mean, if you've never played Satan's Hollow, you can. There are websites you can go to that have emulators in the browser that will certainly run this game.
Yeah.
Go play it right now.
I mean, if you're into Phoenix at all, too, which I love Phoenix as well, but this is taking Phoenix and moving forward in an incredible way.
And you can't just spend $1 on it and feel like you understand the game. You need to sit down, learn how to use the shield, learn how to tap the shield button to maximize efficiency, learn how the strategies behind building your bridges. Understand that later levels, how much screen you're going to have to give up before you start building the bridge for mobility's sake.
Yeah.
Just so much.
You know, it's funny, both these games, sort of, I mean, of course, there's a reason why we like them. They were built to appeal to teenagers at the arcade. Journey with the band, and this with the theme, almost like a heavy metal theme. The Flight of the Valkyries that plays in there, all it does is play the first part of it, and then the rest of the level is silent until you move on to the hell level, and it plays it again. Well, but the silent, I mean, when I say silent, there's no music.
Right.
But that's okay.
Oh,
because
exactly.
you don't want music. It works, the landscape and everything. I tell you, something else, the graphics in this, I mean, it looks comical now to see the devil head floating around. But, I mean, the castle and the hill and stuff. They're just awesome. Yes. They're awesome. We could go on all day.
The deep pastels of the background. And like you said, the devils and the gargoyles that fly down and stuff, they don't have to, they certainly don't look like realistic drawings or anything. They kind of look like mishmash of greens and browns and stuff. But it works because the action is so fast.
Yeah.
And the fire that the Satan head breathes down is amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. And
amazing.
They did a real good job. The game is awesome from top to bottom.
Absolutely.
And speaking of awesome.
Me?
No, sir.
Oh.
I'm talking about the wheel.
Oh, okay.
Hit the music. Here we go. So, Brenny, tell the good people what you added this week to the wheel.
I added black and white games.
Black and white games?
Yes, sir.
So, okay, fair enough. I didn't know we had a pie piece for that.
That's why I put it in without asking you.
All right, well, there you go. Not messing around. No wasting no time today.
Oh.
What do we get there, Brenny?
You're going to have to pull it back. I don't know. We got a little bit of black and white games.
Oh, my God.
Right on the money.
So, since you made this up and didn't even tell me what it was, what is it?
We have to pick a game that's black and white.
So, monochrome is what you're saying.
Yes, that's correct.
So, it doesn't have to be black and white. It can be any color
of
white.
Monochrome, correct.
Black and white games. So this could really, they've released some games on up the line that are black and white.
Any year, any system, any computer, it's all open,
I've already got something that's so outrageous, so outside the box, so incredible, you won't believe your eyes.
Oh.
Bam. Before we go.
Yes.
And I've talked about this on Amigos, but I gave the wrong email address.
Well done.
Thank you. We sit now in Amigo Studios, which doubles as our arcade. And I've been redecorating the arcade, but I'm devoid of all creative ability.
Well done.
So I'm appealing to you,
me,
the ARG Presents viewer, to help me come up with a cool theme for my arcade. Think outside the box. Keep in mind I've got no money, but think outside the box. I want art. I want ideas for wall hangings and whatnot. Send any ideas you have to argpresents@mail.com. That's the official web based email of ARG Presents.
Yes.
Send your ideas there. Label them whatever you want. I don't care.
Put them in the comments as well if you want.
Or on the Discord, whatever you got. Send me your cool arcade ideas. And if we pick one, we're going to pick something. I will send whoever sent the winning suggestion in, I will send you an arcade fun pack of some sort.
Yes. I will help with that.
That's right. So we're looking for those. Also, if you have any comments, questions, if you want to badmouth Brent,
that's
also
me.
A good thing, argpresents@mail.com. Both mocked our email address, which is hilarious because I also got the email just wrong on the other show.
That's right.
As I'm prone to do since I've got no memory. This is why I can't decorate my own arcade, y'all. I need your help. Also, we are in the, I am deep in the thralls of Amigo Aaron's weight loss wager.
Yes.
And it's been hard sledding, Brent, but I'm doing it. if you're interested in getting involved in Amigo Aaron's weight loss wager for charity, it's
Yes.
all for charity, folks. Where I lose weight and you sponsor me per pound, and in July, I've got to pay the piper. If I don't get the weight loss, I've got to give a ton of money. But please, if you're interested in that, ask for details. You can email me at argpresents@mail.com, or you can go over to everythingamiga.com for details on how to get involved in that. And all the money, 100%, goes to the Children's Miracle Network Hospital. So we
worthy cause.
Yeah, we love those guys. Got anything else you want to plug, Brenny?
No, just Patreons over at ARG or at Amigos.
Keep going.
The Patreon. Thank you for all. Hey,
boy, you fumble. You just rolled a 1, folks.
Thanks to all those folks.
Yeah.
You keep the lights on here. I mean, both literally and figuratively. And we are hoping to expand that, as my understanding.
Are you going to ever put any ARG Presents memorabilia into the stores so people can buy T-shirts?
You know what? I might. I might have to work
unlike me,
on that.
you are not devoid of creativity.
Well, thank you.
You know. Also, one last thing, just to plug. We're plugging the boat. Boat is he's a crazy genius. He's a madman. And he has informed me that we will be begin.
That's right.
I've got to begin as bad as you. We'll begin filming a new show because I know you can't get enough Amigo Aaron, so I've got to be in 3 separate shows like an idiot. We're going to be doing a Spectrum show.
Yes.
And we're excited about it.
I'm hoping to set in on that every once in a while.
I played our first game last night, and it was the bomb. I loved it. It was great.
Don't
the bomb.
That.
Raise the roof, yo. So if you're going to interested in that, again, look, just keep checking out our YouTube channel. It will be showing up direct. I'm not exactly sure.
All right, we're stretching this out.
Yes. So now I will read the entire Magna Carta.
Go.
Oh, I'm sorry. So
join us next week, folks. Black and white games, baby. I can't wait.
That's right. So, until then,
have a good one.
Satan. You're an idiot. All right.
4 if you count Insert Disc 2. Yeah, Duncan, that Insert Disc 2 is, no, I'm not, no.
He's going to be Insert the Disc, apparently.
I would,
Satan.
Insert Disc 2 is really not a weekly show, is it?
It's more supposed to be, but we just don't do it every week.
Oh, we never switch back to that. Well, that's probably for the best.
Who cares? That's a cool background anyway.
It is.
What's that mean?
What are you doing? What are you trying to minimize that for?
Just talk to the people. We didn't say anything to them.
Well, you know what? They actually weren't very chatty this week. We had I think our max was 12, which is decent for us. Nickernaw, my lovely wife, Alec, Mold,
wow, what a weird name.
Henrik,
Middle Eastern.
Henrik A.A. Anderson, Richard Man Cave stopped by for a moment. Then my wife laughed at us for having to restart our takes so many times.
Yeah.
John stopped by. Geo Slake. Huh. Is he new? I haven't seen him around. Welcome if you are new. Sorry if you aren't.
We're sorry either way.
Ross and Duncan Styles all making an appearance today.
What's wrong with you? And you want to do something? Babylon Brook.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun show.
Oh, yeah. You can't go wrong with Satan's Hollow and Journey. I love those games.
Yeah.
I love those games. I wish Midway's history was a little more colorful. It's like we lost money for 20 years. Then we're gone.
And screwed a lot of people.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
Well, it's kind of funny. They gobbled up so many companies, and I would assume some of them were for intellectual property, and some of them were probably for assets, and maybe some of them were for employment. And then they gobbled up their own parent company, sorta. And then they went away.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. It's a real bummer.
And look what they've left us with. I mean, who are the major game publishers right now? Time Warner, EA, Ubisoft, Activision, Blizzard.
Blizzard's begging to die. They're doing their darndest to get it.
And
EA, they've been. It's like, screw you, fans. That's their new tagline. Screw you.
Really,
fans.
all of the publishers, I have a real huge beef with all of them. It's going to be a different tale if the push to unionize game developers and coders actually happens.
Yeah, that will be a big change, but I don't see it happening.
I think it would be hard because I think there's a lot of starving programmers out there that are willing to make the sacrifice. How long did we go to this week, Aaron?
It was I think it was under an hour.
I don't think it was under an hour.
No, I think it was. I mean, I'm not lying. I'm pretty sure it was under an hour this week. So we got it in pretty quick. Like I said, I didn't want to linger too much on Midway because it's depressing. It's like, well, it is what it is. Midway made a ton of great games before they went away. And I couldn't find a lot on their early history. That's what I really want to talk about.
In the 50s?
Yeah. I couldn't find hardly anything about it. So, and they did all those mechanical games and stuff. So it's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is.
Why don't you do a real quick check there and see how long.
Let's go ahead and end the stream here. Let's say bye to everybody.
Folks, join us next week. I think black and white games, monochrome games. I think the possibilities are there for something really awesome.
Yep. So I already know what I'm picking.
Do you?
I picked it right away. The second you said that, I was like, I know what I'm doing.
Don't tell them.
I'm not. I'm even telling you.
Oh, well, you can tell me.
Goodbye, everybody.
Hey, have a good one, guys. Thanks for hanging out.